All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and today is February 3rd, 2022. So we can continue on the weekly theme of expectation of movement. And we've talked about expectation in the market from the sense of technicals. We often talk about expectation in regards to option market pricing as seen by the expected move week over week. And obviously with earnings in focus this week, and we're certainly seeing some high volatility in some of our earnings plays, the expectation of movement leading into a binary event. So now we will kind of wrap up our discussion this week and look ahead for the rest of the trading sessions this week, talking about some of the most recent earnings that have occurred, some of the residual effects that it is having in the market currently, and obviously with today's price action, looking to potentially see a possible fade and whether or not this potential bear market rally or the counter rally we've seen off of our lows is coming to an end. So let's start off just with a short-term perspective, and it always starts with the S&P expected move. The market has essentially tagged and actually closed slightly above our expected move for the week. Once again, this is all about just probability in the market. And usually what you're going to see on normal conditions, the market will often fade or simply revert back into these standard deviation ranges, especially if you have sort of a typical trade bias inside that week, a lack of, let's say, earnings or a lack of catalyst in regards to what is in play. So the market tends to be pretty efficient. And usually when you start to see these breaches of expected move, the next play or the next thing that happens from this particular session, you want to be thinking maybe a breakout or a fade back lower. This can sort of dictate the next set of activity for market conditions. You want to be thinking hedging, some of our volatility expansion that we've seen, and just whether or not the market is going to actually price in volatility correctly on the week. So with the S&Ps at this critical point, and obviously with the understanding that we are coming into overhead supply, we've been looking for potential sort of fade or short sell signal, along with whether or not you took this bounce, potentially taking some profits off the table, because as we know, the market has given back quite a bit in January, and we may still see a little bit of volatile sell-side activity to come. Unfortunately, with the setup, we are seeing that most of this pricing is going to be occurring after hours. And that is, of course, due to the fact that we have earnings taking place after hours. So as we shift over into the SPY, we can see that yesterday's close had the look of additional continuation. It's the idea that you might not want to step into a bull rally with the understanding that your location might be relatively poor. But you might also be thinking about the idea of targets. And let's say as a bull, you might have taken this particular setup. You said the bounce is going to take place. You don't necessarily know when, but you think that this stopping volume is enough, and you took your favorite sort of bounce play, whether it be in the S&Ps, the NASDAQ, the Russell, or some particular stock candidate. And as the market has provided some of this upside, basically the reversal play, looking for those topside targets to start to take profit. One of which was this lower bound of our trading range, which market easily was able to breach and continue moving higher. We also see this potential sort of double bottom that formed out in time. And this one's of particular interest due to the way it formed. Typically a lot of gapping structure in the S&Ps prior to this rally. And this is also the low point that set up our all-time high. So very important sort of mid-range areas of the market, along with our normal study, which is where we talk about value. Let's go ahead and bring this into just a 90-day perspective. You can start to see that on yesterday's session, things were not necessarily bearish. We certainly saw the market close near the intraday high, but as we start to dig a little deeper, we can see some divergence starting to form in regards to the strength of the hourly uptrend. And if you recall yesterday, the understanding of a counter rally and the idea that the market is simply trying to relocate to another position of potential weakness, basically to set up for another short-term sell or potentially fade play as the market is preparing for its next leg. Oftentimes we can look at shorter term time frames to get a better timing sense of when this might take place. So obviously our hourly uptrend was stable throughout all of yesterday's session, obviously seeing a little bit of a breach based on some of the earnings. And as we load up something as simple as RSI, we can start to see that as we were climbing, the RSI was not only getting a bit overbought, but we were starting to see divergence. And this is usually when the chart or the price is deceptive compared to the next move in the market. There's all kinds of different ways to look at this. A lot of people will sort of yell out things like volume profile analysis or VPA, volume price analysis, apologies. They'll say, well, this rally has less intention in regards to the bearish downside move. The bullish recovery is more of a pullback, and obviously looking for that next setup in regards to another sell swing, maybe not back down to the previous lows, but definitely to fade the market lower, basically to establish a lower value zone. Additionally, you can think about the idea of, I'll start to remove this as things get cluttered. You can think about the idea of that overhead resistance. Market did close higher, but we were at a zone of heavy selling back in time. And the whole intent here is to step in regards to location, but to define your risk based around the idea that you are being somewhat aggressive. And this is sort of a concept that can benefit in regards to a high volatile market. Oftentimes we will see things like a reversal signal. It doesn't necessarily mean that the market's moving up immediately, but it does set up the aggressive entry points for when the eventual rally does occur. The same thing can occur, of course, on the counter rally. And as you can see, the past 4 days, we have had declining bullish volume, along with coming into this overhead supply, this back test of our trend, and basically coming into some volatility with our earnings. Now, let's take a quick recap at what occurred yesterday. Might have given us some clues as to some possible weakness ahead. Google, of course, did have a strong reaction to its earnings, but noting where the stock was opening at its all-time high, its previous all-time high, along with the fact that this particular stock, if the market were to fade lower, is going to set up a potential return to its expected move upper bound. Now, yesterday's session, we looked at the option market. We priced in Google's expected move based on the close of based on the close of Tuesday. And we saw that Google's expected move was approximately 140 points. So Google certainly had potential to rally, but its location provided a potential thesis of rejection and the idea of an all-day fade back into that 2,900 print. And as you can see on an intraday session, we got within about 10 points from that level. We did see an intraday rally, and then some of the residual effects that are taking place in the NASDAQ dragging some of these stocks lower, eventually hitting that 2,900 print. And once again, just returning to the earnings expected move, which, as you can recall, is based around Friday's close. This is, of course, thinking in terms of probability along with expectation of movement. Great earnings obviously carried the NASDAQ forward on the gap up, but obviously playing what's in play on the session. A different stock and a different setup was, of course, PayPal. We did see this bullish run up into its earnings. The reaction was, of course, quite bearish, not only losing some of this momentum, but also breaking its swing low. So very powerful sort of level one type gap down. If you've attended the gap trading webinar, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then zooming back in time, really clean trade levels in regards to a gap area of the chart. You can see that I've gone ahead and marked these areas in regards to the gap open, which is approximately 139.92, and then the gap close, which is the closing price of the candle that formed the gap itself. And that's going to be this lower bound at about 128.31. Now, on an intraday session, it can also be wise to mark the highs and lows of these particular candles, about 129, I think it's 59 for the high. And as we zoom in and just look at how yesterday traded, let's just do a 1 minute, you can see that these levels are very responsive, both for the short, which is the actual gap fill strategy itself taking place, along with a potential gap bounce or gap return strategy, with the understanding that this was a pretty aggressive setup for the long, but offered an equivalent sort of risk to reward. You want to be thinking maybe $1 of risk near the lows to kind of facilitate intraday volatility, and a move all the way up to 135, which in the sense of our normal analysis here is all about that 50% bounce. So from high to low, you could have easily played this short, getting that gap fill to play out as deep as possible. And then, of course, the long back into your 50% ranges. And then, of course, the stock continued on throughout the day, offering a couple more opportunities and actually closed near this sort of mid-range area before seeing weakness. So always worthwhile to look back at thesis plays, especially ones that we discuss on this particular session, and how they actually worked out. Sometimes your thesis is wrong. Sometimes you have 2 to 3 thesis ideas and none of them work. But in general, if you can think about different scenarios, have basically game plans for each of those scenarios, because you know the stock is going to be in focus. Earnings often brings about new activity. And then, of course, seeing which one you want to take and how to best manage your risk if you are wrong. Okay, so let's shift into what's occurring now, the here and now, and of course, our most recent earnings announcement. Once again, we want to take a look at this in a very quantitative measure. It's obviously noteworthy to say that Facebook or Meta reported decent revenue. I believe the earnings were a slight miss compared to estimates. We're also seeing some of the effects of their initial investments into some of the metaverse changes that the company is undertaking, along with some reporting of daily active user decline quarter over quarter. Obviously, it really depends on your perspective for these metrics. If you're thinking year over year, there was some growth, but of course, quarter over quarter, you'll see decline, and that's what news is going to report. That's what people are going to see sort of in the shorter terms. And then, of course, the actual reaction itself, which is what we'll discuss here. So all that said, let's take a look at Facebook or Meta prior to earnings. Remember that when I'm looking at the option chain, the option market has not opened. So these prices are reflecting the at market close pricing for Meta. And as you can see, Meta closed at around 323 on yesterday's session. So I have to actually scroll up to about 323, yeah. So about 322.5 is probably our closest strike. We'll look at these two surrounding this particular strike. And once again, we're looking at what is the expected move for the week end. One of the reason for this is that this is the series that's trying to price in the binary earnings event that's about to take place. And as we did yesterday, we'll go ahead and take the 322.5 at the money straddle, at least at the time of close. You can see the pricing here is $25 roughly. 320, same thing, about $25, especially at the mid strikes, mid prices, and then of course roughly 25. So obviously about $25 worth of movement was priced into Meta prior to its earnings. Now, question, did they get it right? The answer, at least in this moment, is no. They got it very, very wrong. So the option market priced in a $25 move, and the stock itself, at least from high to low, moved approximately about 75 points. We'll just say 325 to about 250, with that relative low at 244 as seen on the chart. Now, looking at this in the same light as we did a stock like PayPal, which did have a breach of its expected move, we want to be thinking about probabilities and just how far gone has this move taken this particular underlying. We are looking at a 3 standard deviation move. It is a broken option market pricing model in regards to what is normal, what was priced in before, and how wrong they got it. Now, if you look at PayPal, you'll say, well, this one had about a 2 standard deviation move, at least in its earnings, and that provided additional downside. I think here we were pricing in, I want to say 20 points. We got it down to about 40 at open, so it was in that 2 standard deviation range. And then, of course, we had our gap fill thesis coming into the session. Facebook is in these ranges, without having too much of a bias in terms of how oversold the stock has become. This certainly has broken the model. And just like always, there are short-term dynamics that need to take place before longer-term performance can be reassessed and reevaluated. So let's take a look at our technicals and understand that we are at weekly support. I've gone ahead and marked a very clear lower bound at about 244.50, marked off by 2 weekly low candles. That is pretty much exactly where the earnings low took place. So from a long bias thesis, it can be somewhat attractive to think about the long on today's session because we did tag very strong support. We're obviously stabilizing a bit around 250. And if the market gives us a long signal, the stock has potential to rally. We can see the potential of these rallies based around some of these fades to the upside and just the overall positioning of the market. But as always, let's talk about the model being broken and whether or not hedging activity has to eventually take place and bring this stock even lower, basically providing the fuel to get a break of this weekly support. Obviously, this would be a very challenging endeavor for a stock to break support like this on the first attempt. But if it does happen, you want to be thinking about very strong bearish selling volume, the type of market volatility that we've seen recently, where maybe there's a high correlation coefficient to the downside, possibly just in the NASDAQ, but especially if both the S&P and the NASDAQ are selling off precipitously. And then, of course, just looking at how the market is sympathizing some other plays. These are all stocks that are going to be on our gap down list. We have stocks like Snap, which have taken approximately about a 30% haircut in the past 2 sessions. This is coming into its actual earnings. So it's a very notable move lower on an already down beaten stock. And of course, some of that was provided by Facebook's earnings. We also have similar sympathy in regards to Twitter. We'll just look at that on a short-term basis, seeing a steep decline after hours. Pinterest, I think Etsy as well, maybe to some degree. And then even stocks that have a slight association to metaverse. A lot of people were looking at stocks like Roblox to be a big winner if metaverse becomes a new paradigm shift for the market. Stocks like Unity, and just, the list goes on, but Facebook holds a lot of clout. The Meta Platforms company and their announcement has provided some fuel for some of these particular underlyings. And now we have a reporting where the performance, at least in the short term, is of course quite bearish. So that sentiment shift, the fear, and of course, with regards to earnings, some of the hedging in the option market that has to take place. These are all factors that you want to consider before stepping into a technical or a biased position, either long or short. So as always, on Thursday's session, kind of open it up really quickly for 1 or 2 underlyings. We'll take a look as needed. We'll start off with bear bull chat, and I'll just start it off based on this time frame. So whoever's first gets the prize. So Tesla, let's look at Tesla's chart. Here's what I see on Tesla. I see a bearish channel. Interesting interaction in regards to new swing lows, but each of these swing lows has been bought, at least in the short term. So you sort of break your support, you maybe trickle down a bit more. And of course, this has been evolving over time. It was a bit more slanted here as we had multiple reactions. I've gone ahead and marked this one because of the size of the response and how aggressive it was back to our top side channel, which is roughly parallel. These are not exactly the channel tools, but it is pretty darn close. So, you can take a tool like this, you can run it up parallel. That's pretty much equal. So Tesla has a pretty clear channel. It's a bearish channel. We've passed earnings. Reaction into earnings was weak, but we did recover most of that price level on the most recent bounce. Kind of neutral in regards to, the bias here for the channel. Not really seeing, edge here unless we maybe get a new swing low, or if the market starts to really sell, Tesla can have some sharper volatility on deeper sell-offs. But to me, playing a channel mid-range is very challenging simply because it's almost as if you have the same risk and same reward. If you go long and you don't have a signal, you're just saying I'm bullish, usually you're targeting the top end of the channel, and sometimes you get breakouts, but this one failed. It did roll over. And if you're playing towards the bottom of the channel, it's the same idea. You might get a new sort of swing low, some more fresh fear, but so far this channel is held. So you're playing a bearish channel to break bearish. It's actually the opposite of what tends to happen. You tend to get more bullish breakouts once the channel breaks. But that's what I see in the short term. And honestly, with the volatility in the NASDAQ, it's worth watching. EVs have not been having a lot of bullish performance. So NEO, Lucid, whatever EV you want to play, these are ones that are heavily affected by stocks like Tesla. Amazon for earnings. So let's look at Amazon really quickly. So Amazon's coming out with its earnings tonight. This is going to be one of our last sort of mega market cap movers, at least in regards to big tech or the Fang Man type names. Amazon, just do the same analysis. We're looking at expected move, about 171 points. Excuse me. You might want to watch this in today's session because we had a big drawdown based around the NASDAQ having to sell off. That dragged pretty much everything with it. So, to me, I'm looking at this number. I'm saying, is Amazon bullish? Maybe in regards to the bounce, but we definitely saw some heavier selling yesterday. Bit of a bounce and fade potentially going on. And bigger picture here, we are looking at a trading range. Imagine what can happen to Amazon if this trading range fails, or if the trading range simply becomes a distant memory and becomes a new breakdown. Think about similar trading ranges. IWM, very classic one. This is a multi-month, essentially all of 2020 and all of 2021 and a little bit of 2020 combined in this range. And imagine what happens if that range breaks. So very powerful setup, but it has to break. Okay, and then I'll look at one on YouTube. We are short on time, so AMD had its earnings. It was a fade. It was very similar to some of these bigger names like Google, which also faded intraday. They had strong earnings. There's no doubt there, but just like always, we're coming into overhead supply. So from a technical perspective, you're not necessarily thinking bullish quite yet because it's trying to reclaim a previous trading range, very large trading ranges that have broken down. So yes, the earnings was good. Yes, the stock gapped up on the morning, but when you think about sort of where you are on the daily, there is a bit of an edge to the downside, even though you have that going for you on an intraday session. And at least with AMD, the downside was notable. If you started in the morning, you were able to get all the way down to about 120. And of course, there were bounces in between. There was some high volatility in the 125, 124 ranges. And then once you actually bottomed, you got a nice just recovery back to 125. Some value set as well, about 122.50. We were seeing that intraday, very clear. Okay, so as always, thank you all for joining. Thanks as always for the notes and the appreciation week over week. Trade safe. I will not be on tomorrow, so have a great rest of the week. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. Obviously, be looking for the next round of movement. Amazon's probably going to be the one in focus for tonight, and what it does to the market as a whole. We're seeing a lot of things sort of depress in valuation, a lot of disappointment in regards to the earnings performance, at least to the downside. And people are starting to wonder, what fuel does this market have left for new highs? Have we seen the last of bullish setups in 2022? So take it easy, trade safe, and we'll talk more then.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Good morning, brother. I am beyond tired.
You're beyond tired, man.
It's heavy sleet here all night, and it was on
Yeah.
my window. It sounded like you put your television, you had snow on your television, pumped up high all night long, off and on. Oof.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
Yeah. That is tough.
it was
Um,
brutal.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully you're doing better than Facebook this morning or close to it.
Everybody's doing better than Facebook,
Yeah,
man.
I think if you woke up this morning, you're doing better than Facebook this morning. But yeah, we'll get to all that fun stuff. But before we do that, guys, let's hop over into our gappers list from yesterday. What we had on our watch list. Starting with this would be have been AMD. So AMD, let's go to our 5 minute. AMD was a lot of fun yesterday, guys. It, again, gave people a little bit of a hard time. If we're trying to catch a reversal on this one early, it struggled a bit to do that, right? But if you look at it now, stepping back, what a beautiful trading stock it was. Just look how nice this downtrend was, all the way down to around 120, 121 or so. Finally, it gave you a little bit of a bounce there. But again, it was definitely a short for the most part of the day yesterday. Then it went flat the later parts of the afternoon. Nvidia took off. Actually, no, that was not Nvidia. I think it was PayPal. Nvidia here, a little choppy actually, did drop down a little bit. I didn't really watch the price action on this one. PayPal here, guys. This is the one that took off in a hurry, guys. I mean, this thing just dropped. By the time you looked at it, if you were not watching it closely, you missed it. It was just such a nice drop there on PayPal yesterday. Then, for the most part, after such a big move down, you're gonna have a tough time kind of doing a few things here. And you did just that, a little bit of a pop, and then nothing great after that. Held on to this 129 level. So if you're trading late in the afternoon, that was a great support area. I mean, held it a couple of times here, here, got a little bit tighter range, right? And eventually that gave me an opportunity to take it back long around this area here. So you definitely had a good level to play off at 129.58, which I believe that came off our daily. I believe we got that 129 off our daily. It did become the low of the pre-market for low of the day for today, actually. But yeah, that was a level we had off our daily there. Here was a Ford very choppy start, and I didn't watch it after that. Really, I just thought it was going to be a pure chop. But it actually did break down from the lows of the day at that time, right around here. Nice breakout, and then after that, it did start to trade a lot better towards the downside. So that turned out pretty good. But here was not clean at all. Just a lot of chop going on in this area there. And then Facebook yesterday. Let's before we talk about today's madness, or yesterday's madness into today. Facebook yesterday, a little bit of choppiness at the start, then it kind of settled down, very similar to Ford, right? So just the overall market just kind of moving down here a little bit there yesterday, but again, nothing too great, especially compared to what's happening today, which will be on our list for sure this
Uh-huh.
morning. Here is Apple. Apple yesterday was tough, man. It was pure chop. I expected to trade a little bit better than it did, but it just had nowhere to go really. First hour or two, just nothing happening for it there, and you do get this drop here. But if you look at this drop closely, you look at the way these candles form. These were not clean drops, guys. I mean, just look at the wicks here. Every time it dropped a little bit, you had a decent pullback that either would have stopped you out or got you pretty close to getting out of the trade if there was not going to be a continuation. So again, just a mess at the open. The first part of the day does get a little bit better within this stretch here, and then back to this messiness, right? And although you're moving up here, you're doing it such in a nasty fashion. Every candle overlapping the previous one. I mean, I just couldn't trace something like this. It'll get me stopped out so many times. So that was yesterday's action. Let's take a look at the overall SPY this morning, Norm. What's going on there?
Yeah, we got SPY down 1%, just over now. Q's down a little over 2%, obviously. Um, Facebook's a decent component in there, so prompting that drop. We'll get into that in a moment. But over the last several trading days, we've had a big bounce. Not surprised to see a little bit of a pullback overall here. So see how it goes. We just had data come out, and I apologize for whatever reason the sheet did not update correctly. I probably did something wrong in my sleepiness, but we just had initial jobless claims, continuing claims, productivity, unit labor costs all come out, which Obviously, the market is so on, and we've got market services PMI at 945. ISM services index at 10, along with factory orders and core capital equipment orders. And then there's some confirmation hearings for Fed members today as well.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. Guys, let's get to our list here this morning. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff here. Control A, Control X gets rid of that. And as I'm doing this, I recall I did not link my trade ideas or link my trade ideas. So let's do that now. And that should be all set there. All right, only one on our gappers up list this morning, and not a good one anyway. And I think it just popped out because this thing was clean a few minutes ago.
On.
So
yeah, it just came out.
Just came on, and it is not looking great at all. So I'm gonna skip on that one. Let's get right to business, guys. Here, Facebook. Facebook down 23%. Now, Norm, you was watching this last night. It's just the whole drop. Did you take a play on this at all? Did you?
No, I did not trade this yesterday.
Okay. I know some traders did play earnings yesterday. Hopefully, you were on the short side of things here. This thing dropped was $70. Is it $70? 320 down to about $70. So again, huge drop this morning, guys. That they are getting killed. Now, Norm, give us a little bit about the earnings. What happened?
Down 23%. I think the earnings obviously not good. And I have not listened to the call, but I've heard people talk about it that Zuckerberg was just, essentially didn't sound real good as far as what he was saying at all. A lot of times companies have bad earnings and they try to put a spin on it. There was no spin involved from my understanding. So the other thing here is, for the first time in history, their users actually declined. So that's probably the biggest issue here.
Yeah. Huge drop for them, guys. They're going to be in play. 6.2 million shares traded. Down 23. We'll put Facebook right on here, and we'll definitely be watching how they trade today after such a horrific earnings play yesterday. All right, let's get to our gappers list here. The rest of the stuff, Snap is on deck here. Now, are any of these other ones like Snap, Twitter, are they reporting as well, or is this just some kind of sympathy move?
Snap reports today after earnings. Twitter reports on the 10th. They're in Sympathy.
Yeah.
And as people have mentioned here, and I wasn't going to dig into every aspect of what's going on in the earnings, but there's some issues with the way things Apple did that they're blaming. So that would possibly maybe have a universal effect on similar companies that are up against that same issue with Apple. So
gotcha. Is the ask not to track type thing? That is a big deal, and it can hurt definitely companies that fish for information, obviously, from your usage. So, yeah, that's not good for them. Good for us as far as privacy. Snap this morning and Twitter, and they're not looking great. They're down slightly here, gapping up 8.5, and Snap Snap is 17.
17%.
Oh no! Hold on, I misread that. Snap is down quite a bit, guys. At one point, yeah, we're gonna definitely ask Snap. Twitter, I'm gonna put as a possible. We just got to see, man. This is how these things are gonna play out. But definitely want to keep these on deck here. Heading down to SLI this morning, getting a little drop here. Just started to get going here, down 20%. I don't like what I'm seeing right now. It needs to get better volume. I don't like that this stock is sitting on the American Stock Exchange. Again, I usually don't like the way those stocks tend to trade. So, and today I think we're just gonna find something better. So I'm gonna keep this one off for now, guys. If you guys see something great, throw it back out to us when we get to that part. Spotify also earnings yesterday, down 11.4 this morning. Did recover a little bit from the initial drop last night. Not an easy stock to trade, Norm. But what's your take on this today?
No, I agree. It's out of Luxembourg. It's not. That's where it's based, and they're a Swedish company. Foreign, very difficult to trade, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
They had earnings.
Goes.
They had earnings last night, but
earnings last night.
There's
dropping.
other stuff out there that'll likely move cleaner.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of these that you just got to be careful. If it's your style, guys, it is definitely a play. It's the only reason why I'm going to put it as a possible, so you keep an eye out for it if you like this stock. And if we have time, we'll do levels for it as well. Here's pins. Pins, it could be a hit or miss. on the way it trades. They're down 10% this morning, 208,000. I guess similar. They're
Yep.
kind of social media type play, right?
Oh yeah.
Twitter,
They trade
yeah.
like social media.
So I have Twitter and Snap. I think are better traders than Pins by far. We'll have to wait for their earnings to see them really get going here. Here is SQ block this morning. They are down 7.2 today, 437,000. We'll come back to that one. Again, it could be hit or miss on that one. Here's Roblox. Roblox is not doing a whole lot, man. The last couple of days, it's kind of moving sideways here. They were in a real nice downtrend for a couple of months already. After hitting 140, staying up well above 80 for some time. Um, not sure what to think about this right now. I don't see anything great on it at the moment. Just that they're down 6.2 is probably the only thing that looks good for them. The fact that they're trying to find some kind of base here, so maybe this can turn to a double bottom type play for some later activities. Who knows? I'm gonna skip it for now. GPS is gap. Not much going on. Just down 4.5. Not great volume right now. We'll skip on that one. Also, that retail stock doesn't trade very well, so just be careful on that one. Dash. I'm not sure why this is on our list, but it just looks horrible. We'll skip on this. Open this morning. No good. Let's look to some good ones here. Neo, what's going on with Neo? Neo 3.6, down 3.6, 454,000. Could be better. I mean, we'll have to wait for the market open to see how this is going to trade. How did it do yesterday? Yesterday had a nice drop here yesterday. All eyes were on AMD yesterday, but this one had a nice little drop yesterday as well. If you had your eyes on it, Lucid also had a nice drop. Lucid's daily could be very interesting, guys. Look at this daily here. Definitely better than Neo. I like this area that we're getting to some kind of support there. If we lose that, that could be a whole lot of fun as well. Neo doesn't quite have that yet. We had the bounce. We're not back at this most recent lows there. Lucid as possible because I do like that daily, and I know they can move very well with some good volume. I'm gonna stop here, guys. The list keeps going on and on. I'm gonna give you guys some chance to throw some stuff out at us that you probably have already looked at that looks great, and that can be up here with the Facebook and snaps of this morning. Norm, you have anything you like on your end?
I think we've thrown out plenty.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, let's take it to the room, guys. See what you guys like this morning. Let's see here. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. There we go. Let's start with our chat room here, and we'll go with Triple H Neo. Yeah, I have Lucid, but Neo is good too. Neo's the dailies are okay. I, I'll end up putting one of those as my main list. I don't know which one yet. I don't want to have both, but I'll put them on here. I'm gonna move one of those up though to complete our list here. Disney. Anything going on with Disney? This morning they are down 1.5. Hold on, let's get the correct daily at the bottom. Here it is. There's Disney down 1.5. I don't see a whole lot of activity right now. I mean, they have 594,000 shares traded, but I'm not seeing anything crazy right now on Disney. So I'm gonna keep it off the list for now. I think we might be able to find something better. PayPal, yeah, PayPal is definitely a good one. Actually, we should be adding this one as well. Huge drop yesterday. After well, let's go back here. Big gap down, big huge gap down. This sell off, no signs of a bounce or some kind of support. So that's not good for them. Because usually these stocks, these big companies, when they down go like this, they kind of hold a little bit and just kind of chop around for the day. They did not. They dropped another couple of bucks, and today, depending how weak things are going to be, they're already testing the low of yesterday. So they are not getting no love whatsoever. PayPal can be a little funky to trade at times, but yesterday it moved very well, especially those first few minutes of the market open. So yeah, we'll add PayPal here down 2% right now, 3% at the moment. POTR I saw on here, or no, let's go back to Joe. QCOM. QCOM, I'm not a big fan of, guys. I mean, it just doesn't trade clean for me. It reminds me of a little bit of an INTC type play. So this is why I'm going to keep it off. Are they in play, by the way? There's a reason.
They had earnings last night.
Earnings last night. All right, so maybe that can do something for them, but they're just so tough to trade. I'm being probably a little too picky today. Hopefully, I can find something a little bit better. PLTR Nvidia. Let's take a look. PLTR. No, I don't like PLTR. Nvidia this morning. Nvidia's been trading so well. I feel like if I don't add it to my list, I'm gonna have FOMO. Because they've been moving well, man. It's worth taking a look at. Apple was so nasty yesterday. It was just so bad as far as intraday trades. Their daily looks very good here, guys. We are holding here, although we're just chopping around like we did yesterday. Um, Apple could be a very decent possible. Maybe even we can even move it up. I'm being picky with our main list here, guys, but already I think within these tickers we have a list already. I just want to see if there's anything else out there that I can preference a little more or better than something else, right? So heading back up, Facebook and Snap are good. AMC and AMD. Let's start with AMD first, our buddy here. AMD, yeah, I think AMD is worth watching. We're down 1.7, 570. Their daily also looks very nice. Yep, we'll add AMD. Yes, he's filling up pretty quickly now. AMC, on the other hand, I think their volume is not where it needs to be for us to start watching it. That can change. Their daily just continues to drop. And there's no love for AMC, by the way. Every time you think they're going to do something, they gap up and sell off. There was another big gap up day two. I guess when GME was doing something, they also gapped up. I don't remember which day it was, but either way, a lot of red in here for them this morning. They're down again 2.6. I don't see a whole lot of fun on this one. And again, I like this one when there's a lot more volume. We're not seeing that right now. 367 for AMC is not great. That means there's not a lot of people that usually trade that stock looking at it. QCOM. I see a lot of you guys like QCOM. Excellent earnings. Yeah, I get the earnings thing on QCOM. It's just the way they
They don't
trade.
trade well a lot of
Yeah,
times. They have
yeah.
a catalyst, could be different today, so I won't completely blow it off, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's not the best trader of all time.
Yeah, I agree. The best thing is I see about three or four of you guys like this one. At least you threw it out in the chat, and you probably will be watching it. If you see something great happening for the way we trade, throw it out there. We'll definitely take a look at it. NVAX, yeah, the only one on the green list. And look, it's just disappeared. So nothing in the green side this morning. SoFi. I always been dismissing this one. How is it trading? I mean, yesterday had a nice drop here. Very similar to kind of what AMD did. Uh, Not sure, guys. Not sure on SoFi. Short selling restriction, but you can't short it. We do have inventory with IB. I'm gonna put it as a possible. We'll come back to it. I think I'm being too picky today. I'm not sure
Being
why,
asked
but
if Square, aka now known as Block, trades well. It can. Brian used to
yeah.
trade that thing like crazy.
hmm I agree. It can be a great trader. Their daily's not bad. It's a nice gap down here. 7.6, decent. Actually, this is great volume for them because they don't usually trade a whole lot of volume in the market, pre-market. Square might be nice today. Square might be nice actually. Come on.
No
Stop
such
doing
thing. That's
that.
Square. Yes, it's the
Not Square,
ticker
sorry.
formerly
Block.
known as Square.
Block. Yes. We
Block.
gotta change that. So it's Block now. It's the name. After so many years calling it Square is gotta switch it up there. CCL, not CCI, right? Definitely not CCI. You meant CCL, I think. But you know what? Both of them are just no good today. They're really not in play. So whichever one you meant, they're not looking good right now. All right, guys, let's stop here. UBS. No. All right, let's. You guys are pulling too much. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to our YouTube chat. See what's going on there. Let's bring this over here. All right, over on YouTube, what do you guys like this morning? What's on here? A firm. A firm, no, pretty quiet. I mean, they normally don't trade very well, but today, even today, their volume is not good at all. Thoughts on Ford? Ford was decent after a few minutes yesterday. Today, again, it's just getting into this area where it's not fun anymore. Ford is fun over here when it was doing all of this stuff. We kind of fell in love with it for a little bit there. Now it's just kind of been chopping around. So on a day like today, where you have other stuff like Facebook, even Snap and some sympathy plays, PayPal moving well with a good daily with a possible of a continuation play. I think Ford kind of takes the back seat a little bit here today. Neo, we do have as a possible. We'll take a look at that. Hello. Yes, hello. I'm not gonna fall for that again. AMD. AMD here is down 2%, 601,000 shares traded. We have it on our list, right? AMD. Yes, it is. Very good. So SoK 007. AMD is okay. UNH, that's United Health, man. They are brutal.
Yeah,
Horrible
it's a
trading
tough one.
stock. I mean, this is up there top 10 worst day trading stocks, right? And again, guys, day trading for the way me and Norm trade. And we're not talking about any type of long-term investments or anything like that. That's a whole different ball game, right? This could be the best thing since sliced bread. But day trading, the way we trade, we don't like it. Okay, let's stop here. let's go over to our community events and announcement. I know we got a couple of new slides we want to kind of go over, give you guys an idea of what's happening in our community, and then we'll come back and look at this list. Let's get our announcements. Here we go.
All right. Just a reminder, guys, that every Monday night we've got onboarding with Carlos. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern in the classroom and open to everybody. Then we've got our technology classes, which this is new for this year. It's not just a Q&A with Kyle. The next Monday is Mike creating a business plan to assess your trading journey, and then the next week is Kyle Advanced Hotkeys Part 2 webinar. Those are at 8 p.m. on Mondays. Jared on strategy, that webinar should be posted already, and then next Tuesday 5 p.m. Eastern, ABC pattern trading with Eamon. And we've got psychology on Wednesday. Dr. Reed's webinar should be posted soon. Next week we've got Creta, that's at 5 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday. And just a reminder of the mentorship times on Thursday, you've got Andrew at 11, Ed at 4:30, and Thor at 8 p.m. And if you have not checked it out, you can go to stocktradingsimulator.com. That is our free web-based replay simulator. You don't have to sign up for anything, but you can sign up for, if you'd like to, emailed homework assignments. It's down at the bottom right. We don't spam it. We don't sell that list or anything. You'll get a couple of emails a week from the team with homework assignments to try out in the simulator. And if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24. When you sign up for the intro membership, it'll get you a discount. 7 calendar days, 5 trading days, does not recur, only charges you once before it cancels after that week. And then Valentine's Day promotion, Lovers 50, if you'd like an elite annual membership to gain access to all the webinars that we have.
All right, thank you so much, Norm, for that. Let's get to it, guys. Come over here and see what we have going on. So right now on my list, we have Facebook. Let's get something here. Yep, we have Facebook, of course, extremely active this morning. We have Snap on here, Sympathy play for them. PayPal, big day yesterday. We'll see what it does today. Already looking decent for PayPal, not great, but decent. Nvidia, beautiful pre-market activity, guys. I like the daily on it as well. We're down a little bit here, and Nvidia has been trading very well. I have AMD on my list, also looking very nice, guys. 630,000. SQ, which is black. I'm gonna keep saying that so it gets engraved into my head. Black here, guys, also looking good. I like the daily on black. I like the daily here. Coming up to an area of support. We'll see where this goes. This could be fun today if we are going to have a flush below some of these levels that we have been finding support, or vice versa. If we can get a nice bottoming action here, that could be fun as well. A few possibles that could be on your main list also is SoFi. Apple's a good one. It's just, it was so bad yesterday. Let me show you in case you missed the show earlier this morning. Just look at this chart from Apple in the intraday. It ended up moving higher here, but just look at how many candles are being, especially here, every candle overlapping the previous candle. If you think you're going to get a breakout, it doesn't happen. Look how wide this candle is, this range, and we're not getting no continuation after that. That's no fun. This candle opens up here, drops down, comes back up, and then no continuation whatsoever. That's what you're looking for there, right above that VWAP. Drops down again, and just look at this candle here with just, again, a lot of volume being pushed through it, but just no direction. Finally, you got some stuff going here. Again, Apple's not going to stay like that, but I'm just going to keep them on the secondary today. Apple's going to trade well eventually again. Apple does not want to sell off, guys. The market's selling off a little bit. Apple wants to go higher. At least that's my take on it. The way this daily setting up, the stock wants to go higher, but it needs the help from the market a little bit. Neo here, pretty crappy pre-market action. Needs more volume for us right now. Daily does look good. Twitter is another secondary type play here. Not secondary. Sympathy play on Facebook. Spotify could be decent as well. I like the daily on that. Yeah, we got a nice possibles list this morning, and then some of those could be on your main list. Like for example, Lucid. I think between Lucid and Neo, I just don't want to have both up there. Actually, I need to move one up. I need to move Neo or Lucid. Yeah, I think Lucid would be good. Facebook, Snap, PayPal, Nvidia, AMD. As much as I like Block here, I think I'm gonna move Lucid instead. You could do either one, Lucid or Neo. I just want to have some kind of EV stuff up here. I'm gonna move SQ down to a possible. Actually, it was a possible already, so we'll leave it right there where you can stay. All right, I think we're all set. I see some moderators lists are coming in already. We'll start doing some levels here. We'll come back to that list in just a sec here. Here is Facebook, guys. So nice big drop, as you all know, on earnings yesterday. High of our pre-market right now, all the way to 262, and already we have lost some nice ground on Facebook. We're down to 247 from the pre-market highs today. So already a nice range this morning. Uh, right where the price action is now, you definitely want to mark that level. That is where you kind of found support last night too. I know we're testing that now. We're probably going to go lower, but either way, you want to keep, especially right up here, 248 seems to be the spot. 248.
Facebook has serious. It's about 244. If you check the weekly, it's
Oh
a
yeah.
seriously strong level,
Oh, that makes sense, man. Because look at the stop we're getting right. Well, that's too
and
much.
it bounced off it in the after-hours session yesterday as
Yeah,
well.
let's get the
So
weekly on here. What's the okay? Here we
keep an
go.
eye on that.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it
yeah. Look
loses
at
it,
that.
you got some real problems. But we're
Yes.
right in a serious level right now.
Yep. And we haven't been here since
It's been a
beginning
year or
of
so.
last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost a year. 52-week lows we're getting into. So yeah, guys, this is a major level, and this is why again, no surprise was this thing dropped, and that's where it found support. You know, no surprise. So looking really good there, guys. I'm actually gonna keep the weekly because if I do the daily, I'm not gonna find anything all the way until here. We can actually see some levels right over here, 229. It's another good one here for Facebook as well. So we'll see. Looking forward to see how this one's going to trade today, guys. Again, no bias on this one. I mean, this stock is down quite a bit, but eventually it's going to get extended at some point, and you will get a short bounce. You know, so just be mindful of that. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but don't be stuck in this idea that it has to do this. The stock does whatever it wants. All right, so just don't get stuck in that idea. Be very careful. Towards the top this morning on the daily, we do have a couple of areas here. Right over here, I like this one because that is resistance here, and you have support here and here as well, right? So we broke out of that resistance at 2676.19, and then that became support right out of that. So that's good there. As far as levels up here, we have another situation where we did the same thing. I like these levels where you're finding, that resistance. You come back, retest again. Sometimes you test a couple of times. Other times you break out like this one, and now that becomes support, right? We've seen this over and over again. So 297 is another level that we will have here. This morning, last night, it broke through both of those levels without not carrying at all. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Right now, looking rather weak, 23%, 7.5 million. Looking to break this 244 here, 247 right now, but 244 is the main one as well. All right, here's Snap, guys. Not doing a whole lot right now as far as pre-market, but it does have volume, 1.8. So I expect these guys to be in play today as well. 26.15, low of the pre-market there. Our high of our pre-market looking at 27.57, pretty close to this area of support here. Not quite. This is slightly a little bit higher. I want to mark this down as well, this 28.25, because on the daily, you're getting a lot of support here as well. I think that's a good area to have on your list there. Now, towards the downside, when's the last time we had to come down here? Man, it's been a while for them as well. Let's head back. There we go. It's probably been even before Facebook here. They were down last year, end of last year, looks like third quarter or so, maybe fourth quarter. Yeah. So heading down here, 26.25 is where your price action is now on the daily. You got a couple of levels here. Not great. It's not a great daily, by the way. We do the best we can to find some decent levels. 24.84 is good. If you scroll out a little bit here, this is a nasty daily. But even though it's not great here, 23, you can see a little bit of support, resistance happening there. 24.84 is also really good as well. And that's about it. I don't see anything that sticks out like this level here, right? It's an amazing level there. You got tons of action happening right between here, 21.50. We're not going to get there today, but that's a nice level there. It has a lot of confirmation. All right, that is set for Snap. Let's look at PayPal this morning. Also had a bloodbath type day yesterday, even worse after the market opened. Did not get a bounce at all. Low of the pre-market this morning, 128.50, And the high of the pre-market, we're looking at 130.77. So two levels for you there. Trying to hold this low of the of the day yesterday, guys. That's the low of the day yesterday. Really trying to hold on to that. Towards the top, you got the highs from yesterday, and then you have, obviously the big gap here, 152. Let's head to the left. Let's go to the left and see. PayPal also has not been down here in quite some time. They've been enjoying some good times that seem to be coming to an end, at least for the for the recent time here. Uh, what do we have? 128 below this one. A good level here, guys. 123, 124 really. 120. Oh, let's bring that back. We're here 124, 123.45 is a good daily level there as well. A lot of resistance happening there. And then you had this nice breakout gap up. That was good. And then from there, it never looked back, but we are looking back now. That's for sure. So that is PayPal. Nvidia, guys, this morning. Nvidia stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days, but I think, again, this is a good one. All you need to mark down on this one is probably the low of the pre-market. I don't think you need to do anything else. Low of the pre-market at 224, I'm sorry, 240, 242.11. You mark that there, and I think you're pretty much set. Maybe this one here, 230. You know what? And if you want to get fancy, you can mark down this one here as well, obviously 220. But that's about it. You don't need to put a whole lot on this thing here. Towards the top two, your cover, previous day close, highs and lows from the last two trading days. You are set there. Here's AMD, guys. AMD also, AMD is pretty much set. I'm just going to mark down the high of the pre-market, 121.67, and that's it. I think you're good here. You have tons of levels, highs and lows from the last two trading days. Low of the pre-market maybe as well. Yeah, low of the pre-market, 119. Yeah, there it goes. And that's it. Just those two levels you need. Some of you guys might already have this already automatically marked for you, so you're all set. But yeah, that's all you need to do on AMD there. Lucid starting to drop a little more here. Looks like it wants to test some of these lows from a few days ago. Let's remove some of these levels, clean up this chart a little bit. And here we have 25.71. Low of the pre-market is being created now. So I'm not going to mark that just yet. We'll give this a little bit of time. But we will mark down the high of the pre-market over at 27, right? So you have your pre-markets at 27. But keep track of slightly below that, right? A couple of cents below that. That's going to be important there because you have a lot more action happening there before you get to 27. Low of the pre-market will come back and mark that, but for the most part, on Lucid, you are all set. Last time we were below this daily here, daily low 25.63. We're going back to October, November timeframe. So right in here, this daily, good level here at 24.31. So we'll mark that there just in case. We are going to break down further here. We've been in a nice little downtrend the last couple of weeks, and we saw some kind of support happening here, or at least bounce back, but that's kind of being erased at the moment in the last 2 days. So, all right, that is what we have, guys. Our moderators list is coming in. We are all set there. We're going to break that over and see what our friends are watching, and then we will we are early. We have time for some questions or some comments. So definitely let's look at that. Guys, that's how I'm doing this over on YouTube. Please hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. Every morning you guys are giving us that support. It helps us out a ton. So that thumbs up. We're sitting at 142. So thank you for those that have done that already. But for those that have not, we will really appreciate it getting to 250, 300. All right, here we are. Let's take a look. Let me make sure I don't miss anyone. Nope. Couple of announcements there for you guys. Eamon starting with potential longs, Bank of America, potential shorts, Neo. Dima looking at Facebook, Snap, AMD, and Apple. Great list. Susan looking at NVIDIA, AMD, Lucid, secondary list, Apple, Facebook, SPYs, and the Qs. Again, just another great list. It's going to be a very similar theme as we go through these, right? Mike, Facebook, QCOM, and NVIDIA. Jared is looking at the Qs, Facebook, Snap, and Pins, and some secondary play, some EVs there, so some Neos and some other Lucid type stuff. Tiffany looking at Facebook, NVIDIA, secondary list, QCOM, and Tesla. Thor is looking at the SPY, and then the secondary list, a couple of great names, Facebook, Ford, PayPal, and AMD, all which are on our list, except for Ford right now. Megan, Facebook, PayPal, and the overall market as well. So that is our moderators lineup today, guys. Looking pretty good. Let me check here. Anything we might have missed? Anything that you guys want to look at that might be looking good? I saw some couple of comments here. NVEX might be in play today with 3 catalysts. Pre-market is active. Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm not gonna add to my list, but I will be looking at it after. to see if I should have FOMO on it or not. All right, so I'll do that. But yeah, I just again when on a day like today where we have these other ones, and I can only watch 6 stocks. 6 is my limit. I think I'm comfortable. Even 5 is better. But 6 is really where I want to be at. And I think these 6. Now, can I make some changes, right? Maybe I could drop off Facebook and just, sorry, drop off Snap, keep Facebook and put Snap to a secondary and add something else. Yeah, I could probably do that. Out of AMD and Nvidia, can I drop one of these two because they're pretty much tech type companies and add something else? Yeah, we could do that too. So we can actually do some of that as well and kind of keep in mind, if Nvidia and the tech is moving, the Qs are moving, go to your favorite Apple, AMD, Nvidia. You can have some fun there. QCOM today possibly could be in play. I see a lot of the moderators have that one on deck too. Depending on your trading style, that one had earnings. And actually, for their pre-market, for the way they usually trade, this is an amazing pre-market on QCOM. You got great volume today, 700,000. That is decent volume for this type of stock. So we'll have to see. Let's take a look. How have they been trading the last couple of days, right? I saw earnings last night. Yesterday, what did they do yesterday? Let's get that weird candle out of the way. This is not a bad intraday action. Again, without looking at the price action and seeing how the order flow was, not a bad intraday chart here on the 5 minute at all. So not bad. And then the day before that was pretty much flat here. And then the day before that, this would be on the 31st, right? Um, Also showing some strength. So again, not bad. It's just, got to be careful with that one. Here though, you could tell the volume was very bad. The volume was not great on that day. So, sometimes you get these beautiful dailies and you look down, the volume's not there. That usually can translate to a very gappy situation between the bid and the ask and just not great order flow. So you're not gonna have that today probably because just the sheer volume you're getting right now in the pre-market, you will get some activities there. All right, cool. Great thing about it is, guys, if you don't have it on your list, you have Tiffany watching that one. You have Mike watching that one. I saw somebody else as well, I believe. No, you have Tiffany and Mike. I thought I saw somebody else. But either way, they'll call something out if they see something great on it. Here is Brian with his list. He's looking at Facebook, Snap, Lucid, and PayPal for now. He'll probably add something else a little bit later as he goes through his morning routine there. But again, Facebook really, I think, on everybody's watch list this morning as it is heavy in play today, guys. 8.1 million in climbing as far as volume. Do you buy pre-market? No, no, I don't buy pre-market because I'm here with you guys. I'm here with you guys. So I don't want the last thing I want to do is be doing this show and be in a trade. I've done it before. It's brutal. You'll see me going like this and focusing. It doesn't work. So I don't buy in the pre-market because I don't want to have to pay attention to two things at once. I'm doing this show. We're here. We'll focus on this, and who knows? It probably saves me a lot of money. I shouldn't be trading pre-market. I don't have a strategy for pre-market stuff. BON. BON. What is this? BON. Bond Natural Life. There's nothing natural about this daily though. It just doesn't look good at all. No, see, I don't like this guy. See, you had the run up started last night. It's just kind of dropping down here, just moving sideways. I mean, I don't see anything fun on this. Yes, it hit $6, but there's nothing good on this at all. No shares for short. Yeah, just be careful with this thing, man. The daily's horrible. They don't trade very well. Today they're seeing a significant amount of volume. But anybody, if you're sitting here, and again, just my opinion, my 2 cents, which don't mean a whole lot. If you're sitting here and this thing goes up to $6, I'm selling this so fast, it's not even funny. I mean, I'm not gonna hold on to a stock that's been hanging around $3, $4, right? So what is the catalyst on this? Is this gonna hold? The last time it did this, drop back down. So for us day traders, I mean, I don't see a lot of fun on this one. So be careful with that one if you're gonna be watching that on your list today. Unless we kind of get some kind of bounce here, I don't see a whole lot happening there. BON, what is it? It's a 2 million shares flow. So see, very careful with this thing. All right, AMC we have do we have a secondary? No, we do not. What's going on with AMC? Um, the daily is good. I wish it had more volume. We'll have to look at the market open on this one or wait for it to hit the scanners. Right now, I just don't see anything great on AMC. And then compared to everything else we have on our list, it's definitely not making the cut at the moment. Even our possibles list got some good ones. I mean, guys, we have Apple on our secondary list, right? We know that it was crappy yesterday, but we know this daily can break out and trade very well. We have NEO, also some heavy volume, horrible pre-market activity today, but heavy volume, guys, 1 million. I know 400 is sitting right here, right? So that's almost half of that volume there, but again, it still could be a very explosive stock. All right, let's see. NEO, we looked at PLTR, not a fan of. KODL, I don't think we ever seen this one. Look at this one coming up here. Is it? Oh, it looks like a, what is this? It's ETF? Pro shares, ultra short, Bloomberg natural gas, or natural gas. All right, yeah. You can look at this. I just don't put these type of is this leveraged? Or no? No, it's not leveraged. I usually don't put these on my list, right? But you could trade them. They're tradable. And this one's definitely hot this morning. What's going on with Oxy doing anything? No, Oxy's pretty quiet right now. Microsoft. Microsoft. What's going on there? Yeah, another tech company that's it's okay today. Similar to Apple, right on the daily. Just kind of not doing a whole lot right now. So I'm gonna keep an eye on some other stuff that's on here today. Guys, a lot of red on this screen. I think everything we have is gapping down. Unless you want to watch NVAX, I think it was the only one on our gappers list this morning. Never mind. It looks like it wants to go red. So it's hitting at a previous day close. It's green by 7 cents. So I don't think it's going to last long. It is a red type of day this morning. CEV. This is green. Yeah, what's the deal with this one? CEV. CEV up 12.2, 1.2 million. I'm not liking them too much. 30 million. It's an EV vehicle. Is that what it is? CEV. Yeah, that would make sense. 30 million shares float there. Yeah, yeah. Any catalyst? Why are they up? Interesting. We'll have to see. Man, they don't get volume at all, though. They haven't traded well in the past here as far as volume. So we'll be careful, man. You know what? We're not going to push it. We have an amazing list today, but I agree. That's probably one of the only stocks that's green that might be worth taking a look at. All right, so Brian's looking at KOLD as well. And then for IPOs for today, no IPOs and SPACs. We only have Murphu and Murph FU. Murph, Peter, help me out here. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, that's coming out. All right, guys, we are all set. Thank you so much for joining the pre-market show, guys, over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. Bank of America is waking up. Yeah, Bank of America is getting some action there a little bit. So thank you, guys. Hit that thumbs up. We're sitting at 206. We'd love to end the show at 250. If we could do that, that would be amazing. We appreciate you guys, your support all the time. We know that you have options, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us here every morning. Tomorrow we'll be on at 8:30, not 8 a.m. Jerry is not on for Engineering DeMarcus. So at 8:30 tomorrow, we will be rocking and rolling with Norm and I here to end the week. And what a week it has been. So let's see. That's interesting stuff, man. This market is so fun, so exciting. Definitely to be part of what's happening with the day trading and everything with trading, really. Guys, take care, trade safe. I will see you tomorrow at 8:30. Have a good one.